Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide who gets excommunicated from the conservative movement.
And the Israel First crowd is Ben Shapiro, Tel Aviv Mark Levin, and many others that want to put that ahead of America's interests.
Truly, Ben Shapiro, you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world.
That was funny. Okay, she also said some things that were not great. But right now we're in the middle of MAGA civil war. So on the one side is Israel first, on the other side is America first. In the old days, Israel first was the undisputed champion. But as you saw in some of these clips, and we're gonna show you a lot more, America first is beginning to fight back, and it is a hell of a brawl. So Sharon, tell us all the facts, and I'll come back in and weigh in on who makes sense and who doesn't, and who goes too far and who doesn't.
Better than some of the best soap operas I've seen lately, Cenk. Here are the details. Turning Point USA's AmericaFest turned into an all-out bloodbath with conservatives tearing each other to shreds. The feud kicked off on Thursday when Ben Shapiro gave a fiery speech condemning Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Steve Bannon, Megyn Kelly, and Nick Fuentes. Let's watch.
And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice. Yes, cowardice. Even if it were true that other public figures were our best friends, our very best friends, that does not relieve us of our duty to speak out of principle and not to cover up evil or shy away from addressing it out of friendship. So no, Tucker Carlson, it is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA. Or to mirror her lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend. There is a reason that Charlie Kirk despised Nick Fuentes, and indeed even chided Dinesh D'Souza for debating him. He knew that Nick Fuentes is an evil troll, and that building him up is an act of moral imbecility. And that is precisely what Tucker Carlson did when Steve Bannon, for example, accuses his foreign policy opponents of loyalty to a foreign country. He's not actually making an argument based in evidence. He's simply maligning people that he disagrees with, which is indeed par for the course from a man who was once a PR flack for Jeffrey Epstein.
All right, tell us how you really feel. Over the past few days, Shapiro's rivals have hit back. We begin with Steve Bannon.
Let's face it, Ben Shapiro is the farthest thing from MAGA. Let's be blunt. He is a hardcore never Trumper. He's a hardcore never Trumper. When President Trump gets sent back to Mar-a-Lago, the very first individual that jumped on the Ron DeSantis train, the Israel First train, was Ben Shapiro. He's consistently been against Trump, and now that President Trump doesn't back the Greater Israel Project. What is Greater Israel? It's not about Israel itself. It's about an expansionist Israel, an imperial Israel that Netanyahu and that crowd have thought up. And the Israel First crowd is Ben Shapiro, Tel Aviv Mark Levin, and many others that want to put that ahead of America's interests.
Then there was Megyn Kelly. She said Ben Shapiro cares more about Israel than he does about America. Watch.
Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide who gets excommunicated from the conservative movement, which shows a willful blindness about his position in it. So it's a similar situation with Bari. None of this is about them calling me out for anything I've said or haven't said, or it's certainly not about Erica Kirk, as Ben tried to make it sound last night. It's about Israel. Those two are very pro-ardent Israel activists, which is fine, but they don't get to dictate how the rest of us feel about Israel or what we do with respect to our friends and our friends' opinions on Israel.
What about Candace Owens? Well, she was not present at AmericaFest. Instead, she addressed Ben Shapiro on her show. She didn't just talk about Ben Shapiro, though. She attacked Jewish people as a whole. Listen.
Look at you, and I just think you are such a little worm. I could see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? We're gonna sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction, every word that I don't like, and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal Barith. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords and that people are not allowed to violate contracts or you will ruin them for years. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay? Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade. They've buried a lot of it, but it's there and you can find it.
All right, well, you won't be surprised to hear that Nick Fuentes had a similar response. We'll put it up for you. Stereotypically classless decision by Ben Shapiro to use Charlie Kirk's stage to disavow half of the American right by name. Jews like Bari Weiss think this is courageous chutzpah. Everyone else rightly sees it as tasteless and self-serving. The reign of Zio-conservatism is over. So, Jank, parts of this were interesting to watch anytime MAGA is in this internal civil war, sure. Other, though, sections of it and this kind of speech, incredibly difficult to hear. What does it mean, and who got through on the messaging?
Yeah, so there's two different things here. What do we think and what does the right wing think, right? So what do I think? I think that Fuentes and Candace Owens go way too far. So Fuentes says that it was classless. Yeah, maybe so, but coming from a guy who thinks Hitler is really cool, I'm not sure that you're the right judge of class there, right? Let alone a million other things he says that are terrible, but that would have done it in and of itself. So Candace Owens, what is with the Talmudic Jew? And put that crap aside, guys. I know tons and tons of Jewish people. I don't know any that were like, let's get our secret Talmud plan out, right? No. So Israel does so many maniacal things. You don't need to go beyond that. There's this whole, like, the Mossad's not calling random Jewish people and going, okay, you guys in on it? All my Talmudic Jews with me? No. There's no need for that crap, and it is crap. You found some bad things in the Talmud. I got bad news for you. Read the Bible, read the Quran. You're gonna find oodles and oodles of death and murder, and we are better than the other ethnic tribes, and God slaughtered the other ethnic tribes for us, etc. Old Testament, New Testament, Quran, everywhere, okay? So it's out of bounds. To be fair to Candace, the midget horse you rode in on was hilarious. Okay, so fairest show in America. So now, the Ben Shapiros of the world would say, well, okay, then you weighed in on it. Candace is wrong, and so that means she's wrong about everything, and no one should ever talk to her, and we should put her in a cave and seal it. And no, she can talk to anyone she likes, and people can agree or disagree with whichever things that she says. I think when she goes out of bounds like that, it hurts everybody, and it most certainly hurts her credibility, right? But does that mean that by definition, the things she said in the past about Israel or whatever is wrong? No, we all agreed the sky is blue and the grass is green. That doesn't mean that we have to disagree on that if we disagree on other things. Okay, but that's easy, guys. And Nick Fuentes wasn't at TPUSA, and Candace Owens wasn't at TPUSA and AmFest. But Shapiro basically is saying, if you even talk to anyone that I have deemed to be anti-Semitic, now you could tell that he's lying and it's all about Israel, because he then also takes it to Tucker Carlson. Now Tucker Carlson hasn't said the things that those guys have said. In fact, he has said now literally dozens of times, being anti-Semitic, judging anyone based on the religion they're in, the race, the ethnicity that they're in, and not as individuals, goes against his core faith, and that it is deeply wrong. Now I know, and there's a lot of good folks on the left who believe, no, he's lying, it's a trick. He's telling everybody to be good guys because he secretly wants them to be bad guys. Okay, well that trick is executed so well that millions of his listeners have heard now dozens of times, be good guys. I don't know when he pops out of a cake, right? And goes, supplies, I was just kidding. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But to cancel him and that no one should be allowed to talk, no. You don't get to tell us who we talk to and who we don't talk to. But we've almost gotten used to it. It's actually an absurd conversation to begin with. Like, when did we ever come up with the idea of, if I don't agree with something that person has said, no one should ever be allowed to talk to them ever again? That's honestly just an Israel first idea. And the reason that they came up with that idea is there's so many things to criticize Israel on. So what do you have to do? And if you start a conversation on Israel, it's super obvious, right? They go, oh, we're a special ally. You ask them, what does that mean? They have no answer, so they say anti-Semite. And then you say, okay, what do you mean Judeo-Christian heritage? In the 1940s, it didn't look like we had that, right? Anti-Semite, wait, hold on, I'm trying to have a conversation. Shut up. Everyone should shut up, otherwise they hate Jews, right? Oldest trick in the book, Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin have used it 2,000 times. And now everybody's sick of it. That poor old pony, that one-trick pony. They beat that midget pony to halfway, 3/4 way to death, and then back, and they Lazarus them, and then they beat him again to death. Everybody's an anti-Semite. So everybody's sick of hearing that crap. It's not true. It's used to bully Americans into submitting to a foreign country. So that's obvious. Look, I feel uncomfortable agreeing with Steve Bannon, but he came around to our position, we didn't come around to his position. So he now, Steve, you didn't know about Israel first before, but now apparently he thinks, okay, I'm gonna start talking about it now and make that distinction, no problem. And so, okay, last thing on what I think, and then we'll move to the MAGA guys. So when Ben Shapiro was giving that speech, he said, you have an obligation not to cover up evil. Yeah, that's why Tucker's speaking out against Israel, right? So thank you for making our case for us. But as he's doing that, he's like, hey, look, 20,000 children murdered, evil. And Ben Shapiro's like, shut him up. You have an obligation to speak against evil. Shut him up about our evil. And when I say our evil, Ben Shapiro, I mean, you'd have to be brain dead to not know that he cares more about Israel than America. I mean, does anyone really think that? Like, oh, Ben, he really is looking out for America first. Oh, Israel, oh, he happened to hear, but is that it? Oh, that's one of the foreign nations, right? Oh yeah, I guess they're an ally, they're one of our allies, it's important. No, everybody knows. Ben, you could keep calling everybody an anti-Semite. You can call 350 million Americans anti-Semites. We all know, dude, you're not very good at hiding it. That's the only thing you care about, the only thing Mark Levin, Laura Loomer, et cetera, care about. Then he called Nick Fuentes an evil troll. Ben, we're calling people evil trolls, are we? Takes one to know one. So, okay, that's like his whole career, is being a little evil troll. Yeah, America should serve Israel. All right, brother. Oh no, trope. Okay, no, but it isn't about, see, and the way that they hide behind all Jews is also extra vomitous, right? You say, hey, Ben Shapiro, you like Israel too much. Doesn't say anything about my friend Dave, right? And you're trying to get America to help, and he's like, no. You're saying that Dave and Ben and Jason are saying it. No, I never said that. You're saying that because you want to hide your disgusting pro-genocide policies behind good Jewish people who never signed up for it, okay? So, all right, now more importantly, what does MAGA think? This is turning into a rout. Like, it started as like, wait, can we say something against Israel? It feels wrong, it feels like we're gonna be fired at any minute. And then it started to grow and grow and grow and grow, and now it's an inferno. And so I feel like when I talk to people in the establishment, that they live in a fantasy land. They think Ben Shapiro canceled Tucker Carlson at TPUSA and it's already over. He doesn't exist anymore. What they don't know is Ben Shapiro got his ass handed to him there. Like, they live on a completely different planet where Israel is the good guys and angelic, and the whole country, the whole rest of the country are filled with vicious haters of Jewish people who are like, let us attack, but they won't let them because they're the forces of good. I mean, they're hilarious. I've never seen people so detached from reality. And those are all the people pretending to be objective reporters and politicians who represent us. It's become a big joke. So but the question is, yes, but all the people in power are still, almost all of them are Israel first. So what happens when an immovable object runs into an irresistible force, right? And on the right wing in America, we might soon find that out, because Israel is an immovable object. They will not move. You must serve us, otherwise we will ruin everyone who criticizes us. And MAGA, when they get ahead of steam, they're usually an irresistible force. So I don't know who's gonna win that battle.
Yeah, I mean, it's a train wreck, and it does feel like this one could be something. Don't look away, because there seems to be that growing momentum. The final speaker, Cenk, at AmericaFest, Vice President JD Vance. Vance didn't address Ben Shapiro by name, but it was still clear who the vice president was referring to. Watch this.
President Trump did not build the greatest coalition in politics by running his supporters through endless, self-defeating purity tests. He says, make America great again because every American is invited. I didn't bring a list of conservatives to denounce or to deplatform, and I don't really care if some people out there, I'm sure will have the fake news media, denounce me after this speech. But let me just say, the best way to honor Charlie is that none of us here should be doing something after Charlie's death that he himself refused to do in life. And we have far more important work to do than canceling each other. We have got to build.
Meanwhile, MS Now commentator Joe Scarborough stated that the likes of Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin are being attacked by radicals who aren't even conservative.
Here's the deal, if you're a Jew at Turning Point, right? Watch out. If you're Ben Shapiro, a guy who got pummeled with more anti-Semitic trash during the 2016 campaign and beyond, if you're Ben Shapiro or Mark Levin, man, you have just been totally savaged by this so-called, nothing conservative about them at all. They're radicals. They're not even close to being conservative, but you're getting absolutely trashed there at Turning Point. But I guess Jews shouldn't apply. Yeah, I don't know. I guess there's a problem when you have a guy who's openly anti-Semitic attacking Jews, and he gets crushed for that.
Crushed for that. Cenk, final thoughts on who's, I hate to put it like this, but the winner or the loser of this one. I mean, as you said, Israel's not going anywhere. So what now?
So I think I know where the rubber hits the road. We'll see. So first, Morning Joe, perfectly emblematic of the establishment as usual. Totally clueless. Oh, these anti-Israel people are radicals. They're not conservative at all. How dare anybody be anti-Israel? Nobody said anything about Jews need not apply. Who said that, right? So tons of Jewish people are in the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, institutions of power, et cetera, and as well they should be. But nobody said that, and he's just making that up. So, and if he's attacking Fuentes, Fuentes wasn't at the event. They're attacking Fuentes and Owens who weren't at the event, but also anyone who happened to see them. Tucker Carlson once did an interview with them, so that's it. Cancellation by proxy, right? So, and eventually, if you do that enough, all of Israel's critics are canceled, and then you have cable news. Cable news is, Israel ass kissing 101 24/7, right? Not one cable news anchor has called it a genocide when almost every genocide scholar has called it a genocide, because they would never dare to criticize their beloved Israel that they value over anything else, including America. So that's my opinion. And JD Vance, where does he stand? I have no freaking idea. JD Vance was created in a petri lab by Peter Thiel. So but what that speech tells me about what who JD Vance thinks is winning is that he thinks that the Tucker Carlson side is winning. That is why he said, no, Charlie's idea is not to cancel people, and I'm not going to do purity tests. So he's siding with the Bannon and Tucker Carlson. And really, at this point, the reason he's siding with that side is because when it comes to the voters, That's like 90. It's not 90% of all the voters, to be fair. 95% of the voters that are under 50 and online, right? Some of the older voters still have been brainwashed by the Morning Joes and stuff. Israel is our special ally. We owe Israel hundreds of billions of dollars. We should serve Israel, but we should borrow money from China to give to Israel because Israel, right? So yeah, those people still exist, but they're getting smaller and smaller. So Vance thinks America First has won, but none of that means anything other than policy. So the rubber meets the road on the memorandum of understanding. Right now, Israel is demanding a 20-year guarantee from America that we give them another 80 to 100 billion dollars, that we borrow that money from China and Japan and Germany, wherever we need to. We pay interest on it for the rest of our lives, just so we can give it to beloved Israel. And what's Israel gonna do with it? They're telling us every day, we're gonna do greater Israel. We're gonna attack all of our neighbors until we have half the Middle East. And they have maps of it. It's very clear. They call West Bank and Gaza Strip Judea and Samaria. They're in Lebanon as we speak now, and they're in Syria as we speak now. And they're demanding that we attack Iran again, as we covered earlier in the show. So while America First has won hearts and minds in the right-wing circles and voters, they're the overwhelming winner. In Washington, I don't think the Republican Party's moved 1 inch. I think they all still 100% serve Israel. And other than Tom Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've seen no rebellion at all. So what happens when the voters wake up to the fact that their own representatives have been betraying them this whole time and working for a foreign government, let alone all the other donors, big pharma, oil, et cetera? Well, wait till they find out none of our so-called representatives represent us at all. And their job is to rob us, to take our taxes, give it to governments and companies that are their donors. So that's the Great Awakening, that's what's happening now. And nobody knows how this collision ends because the powerful won't move. They will only serve themselves. They will not serve the American people under penalty of law. And the American people are super pissed about it. So we're all gonna see how this movie ends together, but right now nobody knows. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.